Thomas Tate. Now, you are currently a trainer, but you have been a pro fighter, and you obviously had probably a pretty long amateur career, like a lot of the guys here in Houston. Tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you first got involved in boxing.
Well, first of all, I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, right.
I've been fighting since 1977, since I was 12 years old. I went to the gym. Well, I was trying to find out actually where Frank was at, so my older brother, I was wanting to play around. But when I found out he went to the gym, I'm like, what are you doing? Basketball. Usually you go to a gym with basketball or some other activities, but it was boxing. So I said, well, I want to go to the gym. I want to do it because I know he did. So it took off from there, and started training and being dedicated to it, and staying off the streets in Detroit or everywhere, anywhere you may start off in boxing. And it took off. I really enjoyed myself traveling when I was younger, explored the world, been around the world. I wound up in Houston in 1986, had an extended career fighting for the ABF USA Championship in '86 in Beaumont, Texas. Won the U.S. Sports Festival in '88, '87. In '86 here in Houston. Fought in Olympic trials in 1988. I fell short by being on the Olympic team, but that's okay. Then it's time for me to turn pro. I went through my stints of having 2 fights, and then didn't fight again in a couple months, and you have that long gap. But once I was established getting a manager, then I was fighting consistently, and that's the key for you to make it something when you get to the top. And first loss was in Italy overseas, and I had to learn a lesson. I had to go through that learning lesson process. Took some time off, got back in the gym, did other calisthenics, started lifting weights, made me stronger. Then I came out with a string of victories, fought for the World Championship in '92. The fighter that came in, I came in number 2 of Fight of the Year with Julian Jackson. Fought Roy Jones in '94. Unfortunately, I came up short, but it was a situation where I was fighting, but wasn't feeling real well. Drug test, I failed that due to some complications of cold medicine. They put me up or set me up or whatever it may be. But life goes on. I got to keep on going. But I finished with it. I finished strong. Now I'm using all my attributes to train Calvin and other upcoming fighters, to give them a chance, an opportunity in the world for them to become world champions.
Well, tell us a little bit about your amateur career in terms of the number of fights you recall having, what your record was.
Oh, wow.
Way over 100 fights, probably?
Maybe over 100 fights. Won the Silver Glove Championship, and what year I forgot it was, 78, 79, somewhere along that route. Just on the amateur circuit from Detroit, fighting in the Ohio State Fair, won that twice, fighting against other cities. Boy, I just had a great time.
Tell us about your learning process, about how you evolved as a fighter when you first came in, and then as you evolved through being a pro, how your approach to the game has changed, so to speak.
Well, when we first came into amateur, it was a different era. This is 2000s. I started coming in amateur in the 70s. So it's a different decade, but boxing was real hot in Detroit. Hearns, McCory, Frank, Jimmy Paul. So then I had that amateur pedigree. So as it went along, they helped propel me to instill in me the values and morals of the boxing, hard training, dedication, and persevering. It instilled in me, so that carried me on in the pro ranks.
And then let's talk about your pro career. And you mentioned you had a title shot. Tell us about that fight. Julian Jackson. Tell us about the fight.
I was the first one in 11 years to take Julian Jackson the full distance. Other than that, and other people know that Julian Jackson knocked out a lot of his opponents. I was the first one to take him to distance in 11 or 10 years. That helped me along the way to put me in that elite group of fighters where I want to go to the top. And fought Roy Jones. It was a disaster, but I know I was never afraid of him. I fought against Swinhacky over in Europe. Unfortunately, cutting with the right hand, but due to over there, I didn't get the nod. They stopped the fight and said there was a headbutt, and I never headbutted it. But it's all over. Ain't nothing I can do. Once you cross the pond, the United States ain't got nothing to do with it. So that's it. But all in all, I had a tremendous career. I thank God that I went to the certain places and met the people and continue meeting people along the way. And I want to spread my wealth, my knowledge, my experience to up-and-coming fighters.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, and best of luck with you and your fighters coming forward.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
All right.